How often have you felt the sting of disrespect, an unprovoked jab, or a subtle, undermining remark? Perhaps it came from a colleague, an acquaintance, or even a family member. Moments like these can eat at our self-worth, leaving us questioning our responses, wondering, should I have handled it differently? Meet our main character, Leo, a man with a heart full of curiosity, a mind often troubled by doubts, and a journey filled with encounters that challenge his patience. Leo is much like any of us, searching for ways to rise above negativity and stand with inner strength. Disrespect finds him often, from dismissive bosses to family members who speak without regard. But Leo's path is about to take a transformative turn as he discovers Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that doesn't promise to erase disrespect, but teaches how to handle it with wisdom, dignity, and a sense of peace. Each principle he learns becomes a stone on his path toward inner resilience. By the end of this journey, you'll walk beside Leo, absorbing timeless Stoic lessons and perhaps finding yourself stronger and more at ease in the face of challenges. Ready to delve into the art of handling disrespect through Stoic wisdom? Let's begin with the first lesson. 1. Keep your calm. Leo's story began in a bustling office where tensions often ran high. The disrespect crept in through small cracks, an ignored email, a condescending remark in a meeting, and worst of all, a dismissive laugh during his presentation. Each encounter left him simmering, a tight knot forming in his chest. But what if, Leo wondered, he didn't have to feel this way? What if there was a way to break free from letting others dictate his peace of mind? Enter the wisdom of Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher whose teachings would reshape Leo's perspective. Epictetus once said, "People are disturbed not by things, but by the view they take of them." The disrespect Leo faced was like an empty cup, harmless unless he chose to fill it with anger or frustration. What if, Leo pondered, he could leave the cup empty? The first test of calmness. One afternoon during a team discussion, Leo proposed a new approach to streamline their processes. He had put hours into researching and preparing for this moment, but as he spoke, his supervisor cut him off with a dismissive wave. "We don't need to complicate things with more ideas," his supervisor scoffed and moved on, as if Leo's suggestion had been an inconvenience. Every fiber in Leo's being told him to respond, to defend his idea. But he remembered Epictetus. Was the disrespect itself harmful? Or was it his feeling of humiliation that caused the pain? Leo chose to let the moment pass without reaction, taking a deep breath instead. He reminded himself, this reaction, this anger, is mine to control. By keeping his calm, he remained in control of himself, refusing to let another's words disturb his inner peace. Reflection. Is disrespect worth your peace? Have you ever experienced such a moment, when an impulsive reaction could have taken you down a path of regret? Can you think of a time when you might have retained your calm and emerged stronger? Like Leo, we often have more power over our responses than we realize. Stoicism teaches us that by keeping calm, we refuse to surrender our peace to others' actions. Each moment of disrespect becomes a chance to strengthen your resilience. This is what Stoicism is about, recognizing that our inner world is within our control, while the actions of others are not. The next time someone's words or actions spark frustration, remember Leo's lesson. You hold the power to remain unshaken, to remain at peace. And so, Leo learned that staying calm wasn't a weakness, but a choice of strength. But his journey didn't end here. He wondered, if I can master my calm, what other strengths can Stoicism reveal? Let's continue to the next lesson, the art of self-reflection. 2. Reflect on yourself. As Leo delved deeper into Stoicism, he encountered a teaching from Marcus Aurelius. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. One Friday afternoon, Leo found himself once again frustrated by a colleague's harsh feedback on his recent project. Instead of addressing the ideas he presented, his colleague targeted minor, irrelevant points, dismissing the value of Leo's work altogether. It felt like a personal attack. That familiar knot of anger formed, but this time Leo paused and considered his next move, the mirror of self-reflection. Instead of reacting, Leo chose to retreat to a quiet space and reflect. He asked himself a few critical questions, each one peeling back a layer of frustration. Is there any truth in the criticism? Leo took a step back and looked at the feedback objectively. Was it possible that his colleague's comment, though dismissive, held some constructive insight? Upon closer thought, Leo realized that one of the points made could indeed improve his work if he didn't take it personally. What might I have done to provoke this reaction? Although the words stung, Leo pondered whether he'd been too assertive in presenting his ideas, making it difficult for his colleague to engage constructively. Reflecting helped him see the situation from another angle and understand his role in it. How can I respond in line with my values? Leo wanted to embody patience and wisdom. By reflecting on this, he decided to speak to his colleague later, sharing his thoughts openly but calmly, keeping to the Stoic path. In each of these questions, Leo realized the power of self-reflection. By looking inward instead of focusing on external slights, he found a balanced view, one that was no longer dictated by hurt pride, but by a commitment to improvement and inner stability. Can you reflect before reacting? How often do you take a moment to reflect before responding to criticism? Can you separate your ego from the criticism and see things as they are, not as they feel? Self-reflection is one of the most empowering tools of Stoicism, offering us insight into both our actions and our values. Through reflection, we learn to respond, not react. For Leo, this self-examination marked a shift in his journey. He began to see disrespect not as a threat to his worth, but as a chance to understand himself more deeply. But his journey was far from over. Next, he would confront the power of self-restraint, learning to pause. Are you ready to discover the next lesson alongside Leo? Let's move forward. 3. Learn to pause. One of the most valuable lessons Leo would soon learn came from the words of Seneca. Whenever you are angry, be assured that it is not only a present evil, but that you have increased a habit. These words reminded Leo that his reactions could form lasting habits, either for better or for worse. Leo's next encounter with disrespect occurred during a family gathering. His cousin, Mark, often enjoyed poking fun at him, and this evening was no different. In front of others, Mark made a sarcastic comment about Leo's work, implying it wasn't real work compared to his own. Leo felt the heat of anger rise within him, the familiar urge to snap back. But he remembered Seneca's words and stopped himself just in time. Instead of reacting instantly, Leo took a deep breath, silently counting to 5 before responding. The power in the pause. In those few seconds, Leo regained control over his emotions. He didn't need to defend himself or retaliate. By pausing, he could choose his response rather than being swept away by the immediate urge to react. He calmly replied, "Everyone has different talents and work. We contribute in our own ways." By doing so, he diffused the tension without letting anger dictate his actions. Pausing was not an act of weakness. It was an act of strength. Each time he paused, Leo strengthened his ability to control his reactions and prevent impulsive habits from forming. Stoicism teaches that in moments of disrespect, pausing allows us to respond in alignment with our values rather than becoming trapped in reactionary habits. Can you pause in the heat of the moment? Think of a time when you reacted impulsively, only to regret it later. Imagine how different the outcome might have been if you had taken a moment to pause. The next time anger arises, will you give yourself the gift of that pause? Stoicism empowers us by encouraging restraint, showing that a brief moment of calm can save us from the turmoil of regret. This newfound strength in self-restraint filled Leo with a quiet confidence. But his exploration of Stoicism had only just begun. He would soon learn that sometimes understanding another person's pain is the key to rising above disrespect. The next lesson awaited him, the practice of empathy. 4. Have empathy. Leo's path took an unexpected turn as he pondered his next Stoic lesson, one that wasn't easy for him: empathy. Epictetus once advised, "Seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves." It was during an encounter with a stranger that Leo's empathy was put to the test. While waiting in line at a coffee shop, a man in front of him, visibly frustrated and muttering complaints, turned and snapped at Leo for standing too close. Leo felt the familiar spark of indignation rising, but this time he caught himself. Rather than reacting with defensiveness, Leo remembered his lesson: look deeper, seek to understand, seeing beyond the moment. Leo took a breath and decided to respond with kindness. "I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable," he said gently. The man's face softened, his shoulders dropped, and he muttered, It's been a rough morning." Leo listened as the man shared his morning's troubles, revealing that he was dealing with a stressful family situation and that today was particularly hard. This small moment changed Leo's perspective on disrespect. It dawned on him that others' behavior often reflects their inner battles rather than any personal slight. Empathy allowed him to avoid taking offense, and instead of an escalation, he found a connection, a chance to bring calm to another person's day. Can you respond with empathy? Think about a time when someone's words or actions hurt you. What if, instead of reacting, you'd tried to understand their perspective? Could their behavior have been driven by stress, fear, or personal struggle? Empathy is a powerful Stoic tool, teaching us that we are all interconnected, each carrying our own unseen burdens. Practicing empathy transforms our response to disrespect, allowing us to rise above anger and respond with compassion. For Leo, empathy became a gateway to resilience. By choosing understanding over defensiveness, he gained not only peace, but a newfound respect for the silent battles that others face. Yet, he knew his Stoic journey was far from over. If he could learn to find peace in empathy, perhaps he could also find it in living by his highest values. The next lesson awaited, focusing on virtue above all else. 5. Concentrate on virtue. As Leo's Stoic journey continued, he found himself drawn to a core tenet of Stoic philosophy: virtue. Stoicism teaches that true fulfillment comes not from chasing external rewards or seeking approval, but from embodying virtues like wisdom, courage, and justice. Seneca wrote, "Virtue is nothing else than right reason." The next test of Leo's commitment to virtue came during a project at work. A teammate, eager to shine, took credit for an idea Leo had contributed. It stung to be overlooked, and the temptation to demand recognition was strong. But Stoicism reminded him that virtue, acting with integrity and humility, was more valuable than public acknowledgement. Choosing virtue over validation. Leo took a step back and reflected on what really mattered to him. Was it proving himself right or living in accordance with his values? Choosing to let go of his need for praise, Leo focused instead on contributing his best to the project, regardless of who received credit. Over time, his consistent dedication was recognized naturally by his peers, and his respect among them grew, not because he sought it, but because he earned it through action. This experience reinforced in Leo that the pursuit of virtue brought a deeper sense of satisfaction than fleeting recognition. By focusing on his own actions and values, he protected himself from the pain of others' judgments and found fulfillment that was unshakable. Can you focus on virtue? When faced with disrespect or a bruised ego, consider asking yourself, what matters more to you, reacting for validation or acting with integrity? Stoicism teaches that virtue is a lifelong pursuit, one that makes us resilient and deeply content. By prioritizing virtue, we align ourselves with a purpose greater than momentary approval. Leo's dedication to virtue became a source of strength, a reminder that his true worth was defined not by how others treated him, but by how he responded. Yet he knew there would be more challenging lessons to come. He still had to learn to accept what he could not control. The next step on Leo's journey led him to explore the wisdom of acceptance. 6. Embrace acceptance. In his reading, Leo encountered one of Epictetus's most famous teachings. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Leo pondered this deeply, realizing that acceptance of life's uncertainties and others' actions was essential to finding peace. There are things in life we can change, but there are others, like the words and actions of others, that remain firmly out of our control. One evening, Leo found himself discussing an idea with a friend who was unusually dismissive and argumentative. Every attempt Leo made to share his thoughts was met with negativity. In the past, this would have sparked irritation, but Leo now paused and reminded himself of the Stoic dichotomy of control. He could control his own actions and emotions, but not the response of his friend. Choosing peace over frustration. Leo chose to remain calm, accepting his friend's behavior as beyond his control. Instead of letting frustration boil over, he shifted his focus to what he could control: his response. By letting go of the need to change his friend's mind, Leo found he didn't need to waste energy on frustration. He could simply accept that people have their own perspectives, and his inner peace was not worth sacrificing over a single conversation. Can you accept what you cannot control? Have you ever found yourself upset by someone's opinion or behavior? Think about how it felt to try and change or control their response. What if, instead, you embraced acceptance, letting go of the need to influence their actions? Acceptance is a central tenet of Stoicism, teaching us to let go of what lies beyond our reach and to find calm in what we can shape: our thoughts, responses, and inner world. Leo's newfound skill of acceptance became a source of freedom. He could focus his energy on what truly mattered and allow others' actions to roll off him like water. But his journey wasn't over yet. He still had to learn the importance of bringing lightness to life's challenges. The next lesson awaited: the power of humor in facing disrespect. 7. Use humor. As Leo continued to navigate life through the lens of Stoicism, he stumbled upon an often overlooked principle: the power of humor. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "You have mastered yourself when you know what to take seriously and what to treat lightly." Humor, as Leo learned, could be a powerful way to diffuse tense situations and avoid letting disrespect take root in his mind. One weekend, Leo found himself at a dinner party with a group of friends. During a lively discussion, a friend made a light-hearted but pointed jab at Leo's job, suggesting it wasn't serious work. In the past, Leo might have felt defensive or embarrassed, but he had learned through Stoicism that not every remark needed to be taken to heart. Instead of reacting with hurt or frustration, Leo smiled and replied with a playful grin, "Hey, it's serious enough to keep me away from the kitchen and washing dishes." His light-hearted response sparked laughter around the table, diffusing any tension and shifting the focus away from the comment. Choosing humor over hurt. Leo realized that humor wasn't about avoiding conflict or pretending everything was fine. Rather, it was about keeping a healthy perspective, recognizing that not every comment needed a defensive reaction. Humor allowed him to rise above trivial remarks and see them for what they were: fleeting words that could only hurt if he chose to let them. In this way, Leo discovered that humor was like a shield, protecting him from negativity without needing to wield a sword. By treating minor offenses lightly, he retained his dignity and turned potential discomfort into connection. Can you laugh it off? Have you ever faced a remark that made you feel small or belittled? Could humor have helped you handle it more lightly? Stoicism teaches us that humor can be a powerful tool, helping us rise above petty slights. Try responding to minor annoyances with a smile, and notice how it can change the entire dynamic. By using humor wisely, we maintain control over our emotions and shift the focus away from hurt. This lesson in lightheartedness marked a turning point for Leo. He saw that he didn't have to let every word or look disturb his peace. But humor wasn't the only tool he would discover on his journey. As Leo continued, he realized that sometimes standing up for oneself with clear boundaries was equally vital. 8. Set clear boundaries. As Leo's exploration of Stoicism deepened, he encountered another powerful principle: setting boundaries. Stoicism, he learned, isn't about passively accepting others' actions, but about remaining strong and assertive without sacrificing inner peace. Boundaries, Leo realized, weren't walls, but lines of self-respect. His next encounter with disrespect came from a close friend who frequently made comments about his life choices. This friend often criticized Leo's decision to pursue his passion instead of taking a more stable career path. Although Leo had learned to handle these comments with calm, he realized they were beginning to wear on him. The importance of self-respect. Leo decided it was time to set a boundary. He approached his friend in a calm, respectful manner and explained, "I value your perspective, but these comments about my career path are starting to feel discouraging. I'd appreciate it if we could talk about something else." By addressing the issue openly, Leo upheld his dignity without needing to argue or become defensive. His friend respected his request, and their friendship remained intact. Through this experience, Leo understood that setting boundaries didn't mean shutting people out or avoiding difficult conversations. Rather, it meant protecting his peace and ensuring that he could live according to his values without interference. Boundaries allowed him to assert his self-worth and maintain respect, both from himself and others. Can you stand firm with boundaries? Have you ever felt uncomfortable or disrespected but avoided speaking up? Setting boundaries is an essential part of Stoicism, showing that respect for yourself is just as important as respect for others. The next time someone oversteps, consider how you can assert yourself calmly. Boundaries help protect your inner peace and maintain healthy, respectful relationships. Leo's journey in setting boundaries gave him a renewed sense of self-respect. He realized that he could calmly stand firm in his values without feeling the need to justify himself. However, he knew that letting go of grudges and choosing forgiveness would be the next important lesson on his Stoic path. 9. Choose forgiveness. Forgiveness, Leo found, was perhaps one of the most difficult lessons in Stoicism. Stoic philosophy teaches that forgiveness is not for the benefit of others, but for our own peace and happiness. Anger and resentment, Leo learned, only weigh us down and prevent us from moving forward. One day, Leo encountered an old acquaintance, Alex, who had wronged him in the past. Years ago, Alex had spread rumors that damaged Leo's reputation among mutual friends. The pain lingered, and every time he thought of Alex, a mix of resentment and bitterness welled up within him. But as he grew in his Stoic practice, Leo began to question, who was suffering from this resentment? Was it Alex, or was it him? Letting go of resentment. Leo realized that by holding on to his grudge, he was allowing Alex's past actions to control his present. Deciding to embrace forgiveness, he chose to let go of the anger, not as a favor to Alex, but as a gift to himself. By releasing the negative emotions, he found a renewed sense of freedom, unburdened by the weight of resentment. he could move forward with clarity, his mind and heart unclouded by past hurts. In choosing forgiveness, Leo saw that it was an act of strength, not weakness. He was no longer a prisoner to his past or the actions of others. Instead, he reclaimed his peace. Forgiveness became, for Leo, an essential part of living in alignment with Stoic principles. Can you release resentment? Think about someone who has wronged you. Has the resentment you hold benefited you, or has it weighed you down? Stoicism reminds us that forgiveness is an act of self-care, freeing us from the chains of anger. By choosing to forgive, you reclaim your peace and show resilience. The next time anger arises, ask yourself if holding on to it serves you, or if letting go would bring you closer to tranquility. For Leo, forgiveness brought a profound sense of relief. He no longer felt bound by the actions of others, empowered by the freedom that forgiveness offered. Yet, he realized that there was one final lesson to complete his journey, changing his perspective. 10. Change your perspective. As Leo approached the final step in his Stoic journey, he recalled a powerful insight from Marcus Aurelius. Our life is what our thoughts make it. This simple yet profound teaching reminded Leo that perspective shapes reality. Disrespect and offense, he realized, could be seen as personal affronts or as fleeting events that held no true power over him. In a moment of reflection, Leo remembered a recent encounter with his manager, who had given him harsh criticism on a project. Initially, Leo took the words to heart, feeling dejected and hurt. But as he pondered Marcus Aurelius's wisdom, he asked himself, "Is this truly about me?" Perhaps his manager was simply under stress, or maybe the criticism was aimed at the project and not his personal worth. By viewing the situation objectively, Leo could detach from the sting of criticism and see it as a chance to improve, seeing disrespect as small in the grand scheme. By changing his perspective, Leo learned that many instances of disrespect were not reflections of his value, but rather passing events, often rooted in the other person's struggles or misunderstandings. Through this, he found a sense of peace, realizing that the opinion of others need not affect his happiness. This lesson in perspective completed Leo's journey in Stoicism. He had discovered that by mastering his inner world, he could handle any external challenge, rising above disrespect with a sense of calm resilience and unshakable inner strength. Can you change your perspective? Think of a time when someone's words hurt you. What if you saw the situation as temporary, as something that doesn't truly define you? Stoicism teaches us to see the bigger picture, focusing on what truly matters: our growth, our virtues, and our peace. The next time you face disrespect, try seeing it as a passing event rather than a lasting wound. Leo's journey through Stoic principles transformed him, teaching him resilience, peace, and strength in the face of disrespect. From keeping calm to changing his perspective, each lesson helped him understand that true control lies within, not in changing others. As you followed Leo's journey, ask yourself, which lesson resonates most with you? How can you bring Stoicism into your own life, responding to disrespect with calmness, wisdom, and strength? If this journey has inspired you, please like, comment, and subscribe to stay connected. Share your thoughts below. What challenges have you faced, and how do you handle disrespect? Let's grow together, finding strength in ancient wisdom. Thank you for joining us on this Stoic journey. Stay strong, stay Stoic, and remember, true power lies within.